Other PlayStation news. The PS6. Xbox shouldn't fight over the PS6. All PS4 niggas be quiet. The PS6 and the next Xbox shouldn't fight over teraflops, the former Xbox or Sony exec says. Basically, if you got a PS4, you're not part of this conversation. We're talking about PlayStation 6. Freaking former 30-year Sony veteran Sean Layden, who served as Sony's top gaming boss during his tenure, has commented on the state of video game hardware. I really wish this thing would stop fucking popping up in my damn face. Although my information's public, but whatever. I'm about to fucking turn this shit off. Hold up, y'all. Can we hide that? Boom. Nah, that's the Minecraft niggas. This shit about to make me turn this goddamn shit off because it keeps popping up and fucking pissing me off. 1 second, y'all. I can't get rid of it. Oh well. I hate that also. Yeah, I just hate that it keeps popping up when I'm trying to fucking read and it's covering shit. Anyways, former 30-year Sony veteran Sean Layden has served as one of Sony's top gaming bosses during his tenure. He commented on the state of video game hardware advances. He said at Gamescom Asia this week that he believes increased power alone no longer moves the needle. Did you look at that new Control game? I haven't. It is plateaued. We're at a stage of hardware development that I call only dogs can hear the difference, he said, and reported by VGC. If you're playing your game and sunlight is coming through your window onto your TV, you're not seeing any ray tracing. It has super optimal. You have to have an 8K monitor in a dark room to see things. I do think that ray tracing is fucking overrated. Layden went on to say Microsoft and Sony are fighting over teraflops, but he believes this is not the right approach. Instead, he wants to see game companies compete on content because he believes video game consoles have reached the ceiling. I don't know if they've reached the ceiling. Yeah, maybe like a plateau in terms of visuals. I do think they need to focus on creativity, but I do feel like we could still push things a little bit further, but PS4 niggas are holding everything back. The real winner of the so-called console war, Layden said, is AMD. I agree. They're the ones that are getting all the major contracts. The company chips help power both PS5 and the Xbox Series. Looking to the future, a recent report said Sony will partner with AMD once again for the PlayStation 6 after Intel reportedly courted Sony for a deal. While Sony has yet to officially confirm plans for the new PlayStation console, Microsoft has discussed its intentions to create the biggest technological leap ever for any video game console. It remains to be seen what that means in practice, but a recent report said that the next Xbox could be paired with a handheld device. I hope they do the handheld. You said, what's AMD? They're a chip maker. They make CPUs and GPUs. They're the ones who make. They've been making console. They've been doing the console hardware for like the last 3 or 4 generations. I have an AMD CPU. I agree with this shit, man. But I mean, to be fair to them, I feel like the consumers be super worried about like the graphics and stuff like that. So like to say like they shouldn't just be worried about the teraflops. Some of that is the consumers. I mean, look at the PS4 niggas. They're complaining because they don't see a difference between the PS4 and the PS5, failing to realize the entire reason that Watch Dogs 1 got a downgrade is because they didn't know the power of because the original version was running on PC when they showed it off at E3 because they didn't know the power of the PS4. Once they understood the power of the PS4 and the Xbox One, they had to downgrade the game. Where they fucked up is they lied about it. But that's called console parity, right? So like console gamers, they do want to get the best bang for their buck. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I do think they need to focus on creativity more too. Too many of the same type of games coming out. But when I will say this too, when the good creative games do come out, people need to support them. I feel like when something dope comes out, people don't be supporting them and then they get mad that people don't make more of them. The headline for this one was super interesting. I think this is the same interview. Sean Layden, AA is gone. And that's a threat to the ecosystem going forward. Like a Smash clone. No, I'm good off Smash clones. Gamescom Asia opened its door, blah, blah, blah. Same conversation. This is the same con. In the past, we spent a lot more time looking at games and not asking what your monetization scheme was or what your reoccurring revenue plan or what your subscription formula, capitalism. We asked the simple question, is it fun? Are we having a good time? If you said yes to those questions, you'd usually get a green light. You didn't worry so much about the end piece for better or for worse. Of course, back then you didn't make a game for millions of dollars, so your risk tolerance was fairly high. Yeah, also, Fortnite changed the game too. They see how much Epic is making off of Fortnite, and naturally everybody wants a slice of that pie, failing to realize that's not possible. If everybody has a live service, this is why I say live service games are the devil. If there are 10, 20 live service games on the market, there's only so much money the consumer can spend, and there's also only so much money that what's the word? There's only so much time people can spend. So usually when it comes to businesses, there's usually either a monopoly, a duopoly where there's two, or like three most. There's usually three big guys in any type of genre or business. After that, everybody else is fighting for scraps. There cannot be 10 major winners. That's why I disagree with the ideology that there's room for everybody in XYZ. Like I see content creators that'll say like, oh, there's space for everybody to succeed. No, there's not. No, there's not. These advertisers have X amount of dollars to spend. It can't go to everybody, cannot be a 1%er. That's not how life works. Now, if you redefine what success is for you and you say, hey, I'm happy with just, doing something part-time, or I'm happy with my game only selling X amount of copies. Let's have this budget for it. Then you can make it work. The problem is everybody's trying to be 1%, and in any business, there's no space for everybody to be 1%. That's why it's called the fucking 1%. Or as Bernie Sanders likes to say, the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Triopoly is interesting. It's a real thing. Those are real terms. He said, oh, this nigga is spitting. Capitalism is a zero-sum game. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. Today, the entry cost for making a AAA game is in triple digits, millions now. I think naturally risk tolerance drops, and you're looking for sequels. You're looking for copycats, because the finance guys who draw the line say, well, if Fortnite made this much money in this amount of time, my Fortnite knockoff can make it in this amount of time. No, that's just not. People don't want to play a knockoff, bruh. People do not want to play a knockoff. I don't understand. I tell you, it's always the suits. And if I could take it a step further, shout out to Jay Scott with the sub. If I could take it a step further, I miss AA games. I feel bad for some of y'all. It's so many of y'all that are growing up without these AA. When I say AA games, some of my favorite games are AA games. I'm thinking of like Vanquish. What's that one you love? The Protocol game, Ethos. Games that like they had AAA ambitions, but it wasn't quite there. Alpha Protocol, yeah, that one. Those type of games. Those games were really good, and they allowed people to experiment. And also they were usually cheaper. But a binary domain, yeah, like that. Like I feel like the last era of Army of Two, the last era of AA games was the Xbox 360. I think a lot of people forget I feel like in retrospect, a lot of times when people talk about the Xbox 360, they only talk about Gears of War, Forza, and Halo, and those were the three pillars of the platform. But I felt like the hard work and blue collar that also held up the Xbox 360 were games like Blue Dragon. There were a lot of really enslaved Odyssey to the West. There were a lot of really dope games on the Xbox 360 that don't exist anymore. So I miss the AA games. I think a recent AA game that I can think of was the one that came out in July. Flintlock. Flintlock was a decent AA game, and it was on Game Pass. A lot of time, but the problem is a lot of people call that shit woke, so they didn't try it. It was an okay game. Everything doesn't need to be the greatest thing of all fucking time. Dark Void, that game sucked. I didn't like that game. Hi-Fi Rush counts. Hi-Fi Rush is more of a AAA game to me, because that was Bethesda. That was Bethesda, which is backed by Microsoft. And also, if you play the game, it was a new IP. If you play the game, that game was very polished. That was a AAA game. But yeah, I agree with it. They got to cut down every game doesn't need to cost $100 million, guys. What's wrong with a $20 million budget, $10 million budget with a small team? Make it work. And I think I have one more article from the same thing. Former PlayStation exec says there's a collapse of creativity. I don't know if I just saved articles. I don't know if this one's different. Yeah, this is the same one. It's the same quote. Yeah, I agree with what he's saying. My only question to him is, you were an executive for PlayStation. Why didn't you make that happen? Unless, the powers to be are trying to block his shine. Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno was just a clone of God of War, though. Speaking of God of War, development for the live-action God of War series will now be starting over from scratch. Rafe Jukins has left the project after completing multiple scripts. The studio wants to move in a different creative direction despite praising the previous scripts. Translation, yellow flag, guys. Yellow flag. What a transition. Yo, that transition was by accident. I swear to God, that was by accident. That was perfect that he said Dante's Inferno in the chat. Great. That was just, sometimes the stars just line, you know? That wasn't me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna take that. That wasn't me. That was just coincidence. But yeah, I'm gonna say not red flag, but yellow flag. You guys love the scripts, but you scrapped them? Okay. We'll see. Hollywood might ruin something else. But might have brought it up now. That's why he's a former executive. True. That's probably why he left. He might have been frustrated. Insomniac is gearing up to show more from Wolverine, it's claimed. We're finally about to see some gameplay, hopefully. We could be getting a new look at Marvel's Wolverine from Insomniac before the end of the year, according to a claim by an insider. Sony and Insomniac are gearing up to show fans more from Wolverine soon. From my little digging, it looks like Sony is gearing up to show off some new stuff from Marvel's Wolverine, they said. It's hard for me to determine when that'll happen, but I'm guessing it'll be this year, either at TGA or at some unannounced super secret event. Excuse me, I burped. When's that Disney event? When's the next like Disney shit? There's been no confirmations from PlayStation, obviously. Insomniac said they really any more story content for Spider-Man 2. Really? No DLC? What happened to Wonder Woman? That game is struggling. It's in a bad state right now. Last we checked on it, that game is like nowhere even done. That shit is like an alpha or something. I don't think that game coming out. Don't be surprised if it gets canceled. Insomniac low-key pissed me off with this weak-ass Spider-Man game. They tried to get by... What? I thought Spider-Man was the game of the year. What happened, chat? I thought it was innovative. It was fresh, refreshing. It was new, mind-boggling. Just like Sparking Zero. Take this with a grain of salt. What is this? Oh, I have that saved already. I'm gonna get to that. Oh, 33 Immortals delayed. 33 Immortals delayed. That's the other game with 33 in it. If you don't remember this is another game that's coming to Game Pass, I believe. Where it's like a top-down roguelike, like kind of like Hades, but there's 33 people and playing co-op. It got delayed. But I think they said something about beta test is coming soon though. One aspect that's pretty much unique to the genre is the raid grabbing a huge number of tenants. Yeah, we know. Just give us the info. Yeah, yapping. Oh, here's the statement. We've got important news to share today. The early access release for 33 Immortals is being pushed back to 2025. The game needs a little bit more time in the oven before it's ready. We're making great progress, but this year is really flown by. We still want to iron out a few unexpected challenges with stability and address the valuable player feedback we received from during the testing sessions. We're incredibly grateful for the ongoing support from this amazing community, your excitement, feedback, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know. So 2025, top of 2025, look out for some testing. Spider-Man 2 was fun and had a good story. Folks saying it's bad, just trying to be different. Still nowhere near Baldur's Gate 3. I agree. I never said it was a bad game. It's good. But if you remember last year, freaking you had people on social media. I'm stretching, my bad. I had to get right. You had content creators screaming, watching the Game Awards. I'm not gonna lie. If you didn't play at least 3 games that are not Call of Duty, Madden, and 2K, I don't even know why you're watching the Game Awards. You niggas don't care about the culture. Niggas screaming on their streams. What? Spider-Man! You're not qualified for the conversation, bro. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? There's like 5-6 games nominated every year for the game of the year. If you haven't played at least 3 of those games in that nomination, you can't even have a conversation. You said clip. Fuck y'all. And that's not even to be mean, because like the same thing applies to anything in life. Do you walk into a lawyer's office who's having a consultation with somebody and say, hey, fuck him. I'll represent you for half the price. I didn't go to school to be a lawyer. I didn't pass the bar exam. But here's my opinion on your case. Like, shut your ass up, bro. If you play only 3 PlayStation exclusives, you don't know what you're talking about. That's why I be getting annoyed when motherfuckers want to talk about Game of the Year. Wukong came out, Game of the Year. Why would you even say that when gaming season's about to come in? Now everybody who screamed Wukong is Game of the Year, y'all look dumb. That shit is not winning no Game of the Year. You think it'll be the same this year for Wukong? No, because I take back what I said. I thought Wukong had the most annoying community. No, the most annoying community of 2024 goes to Sparking Zero. They are insufferable. They're the ones screaming Game of the Year now too. I'm like, bro, no, please stop. Good game, but stop. Please stop. I'm happy for y'all that y'all finally got the Dragon Ball game that y'all dreamed of. But is it pushing any boundaries? No, please stop. So I'm telling you right now, when the Game Awards comes out this year, don't be surprised. I think best case scenario for Sparking, it's not winning game of the. It's not winning. I'm sorry, Sparking Zero fanboys, it's not winning game of the year. Best case scenario for Sparking Zero is that it could win best fighting game if it gets nominated, but even still, it's got stiff competition with Tekken 8. I don't see it beating Tekken 8. So I say that to say, don't be surprised when the Game Awards comes around in December, you see Sparking Zero fanboys crying.